Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to talk a little more in a second, but first, before I do my keynote, I have the pleasure of introducing two amazing students that have been collaborating, that I've been supporting on a project that the Hope and Empowerment Coalition took on, which was looking at the success of the Adult Coalition, bringing these partners together from all of these local districts. How can we help empower students to do the same? And so what we've done is we've collaborated on facilitating a program that allows students to come together and discuss and hopefully improve mental health in our shared districts. So to tell you a little more about Students versus Stigma, I would like to introduce Josh, who's a senior at Plymouth, and Tori, who's a sophomore at Northville. Give them a big round of applause. Josh and Tori.
Probably important. So while Matt is getting up the slides, I'm Josh Patterson. Like Matt said, I'm a Plymouth High School senior. Student voice, I'm a part of multiple groups that have student voice. So Students versus Stigma co-founder, and I'm here doing this work because I myself have experienced a lot of mental health challenges, depression, anxiety, but also I've seen my family and friends and even peers go through similar things, and a lot of them get the support they need, but not everyone really sees the tools that they have available to them, and I really hope that I can bridge that gap.
Hi, hello. My name is Victoria Murch. I'm a 16 years old and a sophomore at Northville High School, like Matt said. I like to write and hang out with my friends, and by looking at me, you probably wouldn't have guessed that I attempted to take my life when I was 15 years old. For my entire life, I have struggled with my mental health, and so have so many of my friends. It's actually crazy how many of my friends have struggled with their mental health, because it's not actually that uncommon of a problem. I mean, oh, thank you. Clicker. 1 in 5 students experience a mental health challenge in their life, and less than a quarter ever reach out for help. Now, as a community, Students versus Stigma wants to change that. We are a mental health organization, a multi-district mental health organization run by students and sponsored and started by the wonderful Hope Empowerment Coalition, which is all you guys. So, over the past year, we have been creating and developing our ideas and going over and revising, and we have finally begun our work. You know, it's been a very long journey, but finally we've made it here.
So how do we hope to accomplish this vision? Well, first of all, like Tori said, we're a multi-district group, which means not only are we just like high schools collaborating, but we're cross-district high schools collaborating with 9 districts. So we want to take the resources from each of those schools and unite them and share their strategies and resources that work, and the ones that don't, we want to say, hey, like we're struggling with this, can we get some help from you guys? We also want to connect resources between groups. So whether that's a mental health program or clubs that are in our schools already, we want to make sure that those are being implemented in other schools if they're working, and also linking students to the existing programs or hotlines that are able to help them. We also are hoping to work with community partnerships to like local nonprofits, universities, and mental health leaders to kind of outside of school districts bring in some effort into this work. And then another key pillar of this work is also getting support from parents and families and bringing them into this topic. So a lot of parents and families we've talked about at our most recent meeting don't necessarily understand how to help their student with their mental health struggles, or also understand the stigma that's around that, or how they could be feeding into that stigma, and we want to kind of help families know how to work with their kids. We also want to connect students to support. So I've done a lot of things, so I know a lot of the tools that are available to me, but a lot of students at school don't know all the resources that they have, or are too stigmatized to be able to go and reach out for that help. So we want to kind of bridge that gap. Lastly, we want to communicate progress to our community. So whether it's doing events like this or other things, it's very important that we put ourselves out there. That way they can give feedback, so students that are facing challenges can tell us what they are, and we can hopefully address those later. So how does that tie into our full circle impact model? Well, first of all, we're going to take student suggestions or concerns and assess and prioritize them, looking at the biggest impact with the least amount of effort. So some challenges could have a huge amount of impact, but we really can't address them with our resources, or they just can't really be fixed. So we'll look at the ones that have the most amount of impact with the least amount of friction to do them. And then we want to work to get them addressed, whether that's working with administration, school counselors, outside groups, and getting them that impact done. And then we'll implement that change. And really the most important part is when we communicate that change to the community, because again, that brings in, and we show everybody that, hey, we're doing something, we'd love your voice so we can continue this impact, which makes it full circle. And then really this process empowers students and strengthens the trust between us and you guys, and builds a sustainable culture of openness and drives more voice to lead to more improvements.
I'm sorry, Matt, that was yours. We decided to achieve that goal through a structure that I personally made myself. We wanted to play to people's strengths. We want to communicate and unite all of these different initiatives throughout all across the 9 school districts that are in the Hope Empowerment Coalition, I think. And we decided to do that through committees. Since there's going to be about 3 representatives from each school, we have ample resources that will let people choose what they want to do, whether that be, focusing on how substance abuse affects mental health, or how familial relations affects mental health, or if they want to do a social media program. They get to do what they're interested in and what they're good at. To emphasize the open communication that is so crucial in making any organization run smoothly, we decided to go with facilitators. So instead of having a president or a vice president, facilitators like Josh and I are going to work between the different committees, and we are going to communicate what one committee is doing to another committee, and we are going to guide them and help them get better at what they want to get better at, and complete what they want to accomplish. Everything in our meetings is going to be completely and utterly confidential. Because we have emphasized that it will be an accepting and loving space, because how are we supposed to help ourselves if we're not able, let me rephrase. How are we supposed to help other people if we aren't able to help ourselves? So, how did we get here? So, about a year ago now, wow. December 2024, the lovely people at the Hope Empowerment Coalition started the first official meeting of what would eventually become Students versus Stigma. So after that, from December to September of 2025, me, Josh, and a group of other students from tons of other districts worked together to create a vision and mission statement, plans that we wanted to come up with. We created a social media account. Josh started working on a website. What else did we do? Oh yeah, I made tons of posters. Sorry. And eventually, we finally got to our first official kickoff event, which was on October 18th, 2025. Now, this event went better than I could have ever hoped for. We had 49 students show up. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 49 whole people. That's so we wanted to emphasize connection between people, since teenagers are notoriously scared of everything, and especially people they don't know. We played a wonderful game, thanks to Josh, double Pictionary, which totally helped our discussion. People came up with tons of different ideas that I personally might have never heard before, you know, social interactions with their peers, substance abuse, parental issues, academics is a big one. All of these different things that we decided that we wanted to focus on in the beginning of our actual, starting of our event. In our next meeting, which is this coming Saturday, if any of you would like to suggest that your students come, we would love to have you there. We are going to be making anonymous tip boxes out of shoe boxes, as well as having a discussion. We've compiled tons of different resources from different clubs, school resources, activities that have worked and activities that haven't worked, and we're going to probably put that on our website, have more discussions, and hopefully come up with a more concrete action plan for the next 6 months.
With that said, these are our coalition member districts. If you want to take a second and look and see if your school is on there, and then make sure you look. With that said, only these districts have adult representation in Students versus Stigma. We might have student representation, we just don't have an adult sponsoring or as an adult liaison in our committee. So we'd love to see adult leadership from those other participating districts. And then lastly, how can you help? Well, it all starts with a student suggestion, or wait, not way off. I was like, what? Students versus Stigma doesn't just raise awareness, we want to help change the very structure that contributes to the mental health challenges in the first place. And for most of us, that starts in our schools. Many of you work in education, and as students, we know there's only so much us as students can do. What makes Students versus Stigma different from other mental health groups is our incredible network of adult sponsors. The members of the Hope Empowerment Coalition have helped us grow, guided us through challenges, and given us a platform to make real, meaningful change. Looking ahead, we hope Students versus Stigma can bring in student perspective into where the real decisions are being made, where often student voice is left out. As students, our goal is to create stronger connections within our schools. With the help of adults who work in education, we want to create a ripple effect that builds trust between students and adults, as well as connecting students with the resources that they have available to them. With that said, what does your support look like? Well, first of all, we have struggled with transportation. So since we meet at one school in our 9 member district schools, transportation is often a big factor. So you could possibly help us with getting our students transferred to the meetings and events, connections, so linking us with known mental health professionals, community partners, and school leaders that you think could help in our effort. Recruitment, so telling your students or people that you know to join this effort, or just sharing like what we are with people that you know. And then again, we need an adult liaison from the committees that we talked about earlier. And if you have any people you want to connect us with or anything, that our email is studentsverssstigma@gmail.com, and then our Instagram is QR coded there as well. Thank you.